This is Plant-Based Briefing. What is cultivated meat? Could it change the future of food? By Charlotte Pointing at vegnews.com. And I'm Marian Erickson, and this is the curated content plant-based podcast where I narrate articles on healthy, compassionate, and eco-friendly living with permission in about 10 minutes or less every weekday. Today's article is from vegnews.com. They're the largest vegan media brand in the world. They launched in 2000. They have an amazing magazine, great online content, and they even have a wedding site, veganweddings.com. So check them out, and now let's get to today's plant-based briefing. What is cultivated meat? Could it change the future of food? By Charlotte Pointing at vegnews.com. What is cultivated meat? By 2035, the market could hit nearly $2 billion. Here's why it's better for the planet and the animals than regular meat. In 2013, Hanni Rützler, a nutritional scientist from Austria, secured her place in the history books when she became the first person in the world to tuck into a cultivated meat burger. Her verdict? Perfect consistency, but I miss salt and pepper, she said after trying the piece of lab-grown beef reported to be worth around $250,000. But while Rützler may have been the first person to sink her teeth into meat grown in a lab, she's far from the last. Since then, cultivated meat, also referred to as cultured, cell-based, or lab-grown meat, has actually been served to paying customers in restaurants. Luckily, they didn't have to take out a loan to try it, as the price has come down considerably in the last decade. And despite the fact that only Singapore has given regulatory approval right now, by 2035, a new report from Research and Markets predicts the whole industry could reach almost $2 billion. But what actually is cultivated meat? Does it count as vegan food? And when it comes to feeding the world ethically and sustainably, does this industry actually have potential? Here we explore the answers to your burning questions. What is cultivated meat? Cultivated meat is just like traditional meat, only unlike the latter, which is taken from farmed animals, the former is grown from real animal cells inside a lab. The idea behind the industry is to remove the need for animal farming altogether and take billions of cows, chickens, fish, turkeys, pigs, and more out of the food system. The industry is still relatively new. The first cultured meat companies were founded around 7 years ago. But now there are roughly 99 companies working on creating cultured animal protein in a lab. How is cultivated meat made? The process of making cultivated meat takes a few weeks and starts when cells are taken from a farmed animal. To grow a beef burger, for example, real cow cells are needed. For a nugget, real chicken cells are obtained. After that, the cells are put into bioreactors, essentially big vats, and fed an oxygen-rich cell culture medium, according to the Good Food Institute, a nonprofit dedicated to the growth of the alternative protein market. Changes in the medium composition, often in tandem with cues from a scaffolding structure, trigger immature cells to differentiate into the skeletal muscle, fat, and connective tissues that make up meat, it continues. After that, the resulting protein is harvested and prepared, ready for consumption. Is cultivated meat vegan? Because cultivated meat is taken from real animal cells, it's not technically vegan. But that said, because it's slaughter-free, some vegans have said they'd be open to consuming it. One poll by the dating app Vegly, conducted last year, found that 24% of vegans would be open to eating cultivated meat. And while nearly half said they wouldn't eat it, they did also state that they still want the industry to succeed. The more momentum cultured meat gains, the less demand there will be for animal meat, said Vegly's founder Alex Filippelli. Ultimately, we as vegans just want to save as many animals' lives as possible and protect the planet. Cultured meat is one of the new innovations that will help us achieve this, so it's worth supporting or encouraging it even if we don't want to eat it. Is cultivated meat sustainable? Right now, the food system relies heavily on animal agriculture, but this way of producing protein is detrimental to the planet. Livestock emits 14.5% of global greenhouse gases, and it's also a driver of deforestation and habitat destruction, as well as water pollution and ocean dead zones. Ultimately, changing the way we make meat and shifting production to the lab will help to mitigate some of these environmental challenges. According to one 2011 Oxford University study, for example, cultivated meat could reduce emissions by 96%, and a more recent analysis conducted in 2021 suggested that if a cultivated meat production facility was run on renewable energy, the carbon footprint of producing beef could be up to 92% lower. It would also cut down on resources as well as waste. When we're raising animals, a very large amount is being discarded. The bones, fur, eyeballs, organs. What we're doing is wasting resources to produce stuff that we don't get back. Sheer Friedman, who co-founded the Modern Agricultural Foundation and currently serves as Cultivated Meat Company Supermeat's head of communications, told Gizmodo back in 2016, "With cultured meat, you grow exactly what you want, and you barely throw anything away." What other foods can be cultivated in a lab? The world of cultivated meat is exciting, innovative, and intriguing, but it's not the only food that can be produced inside a lab. In fact, one day we could all be drinking coffee, enjoying chocolate, and chewing on collagen gummies, all of which started their journeys inside a lab. Cult Food Science, a new product division of Canadian brand Cult Foods, for example, has created Zero Coffee, a sparkling coffee beverage made with cultured coffee. It's also developed Free Candy, a gummy made with cultured collagen. The latter is a popular supplement associated with improved skin elasticity, but because it comes from animal bones, it's not sustainable. Cultured collagen, however, offers a potentially more environmentally friendly, more ethical alternative. And in Switzerland, some researchers have even worked out how to create lab-grown chocolate, which would reduce the demand for cocoa, which is also an industry associated with deforestation. It is not only staple products such as meat that will be reinvented through cellular agriculture, said Cult CEO Leji Gafour, but the over $50 billion auxiliary markets such as coffee beans and collagen. In fact, he added that most of the key ingredients you see on grocery shelves can be replaced with cultivated alternatives. The products that bring us so much enjoyment, an afternoon coffee or a sweet snack, so often rely on environmentally harmful ingredients, added Joshua Arrett, Cult's Vice President of Product Development. We're providing a sustainable alternative. You just listened to What is Cultivated Meat? Could it change the future of food? By Charlotte Pointing at vegnews.com. And I'm your host, Marian Erickson, and I'm one of those people that will wholeheartedly support and promote cultivated meat because I believe there are so many people who are so far off, if ever, willing to make the switch to vegan food or plant-based food. So I support it for that reason. But I wanted to point out that the official definition of veganism, according to the Vegan Society, has gone through many iterations over the years, and one of the most recent additions is one that I want to talk about. They added a sentence about promoting the development of animal-free alternatives. The definition starts with, "Veganism is a philosophy and way of living which seeks to exclude, as far as is possible and practicable, all forms of exploitation of and cruelty to animals for food, clothing, or any other purpose." And then this is the part they added, "and by extension promotes the development and use of animal-free alternatives for the benefit of animals, humans, and the environment." And then the definition continues, "In dietary terms, it denotes the practice of dispensing with all products derived wholly or partly from animals." So that last sentence is where some vegans will say, no, cultivated meat, even though it's just a cell, animals were exploited to get those cells, so therefore it's not vegan. But I'm more concerned with creating a vegan world as quickly as possible and stopping the harm we're doing to animals, and humans and the environment, of course. And that's why I support this. But in the future, there will likely even be an end to the harvesting of cells from live animals through the creation of cell lines from which future meat cells can be sourced. If you're interested in looking into this further, I've done a number of episodes on cultivated meat, but also I recommend the Rich Roll podcast. He's had Bruce Friedrich on there a number of times. He is a former PETA activist. He was arrested in the past for streaking in front of Buckingham Palace with the words goveg.com printed in marker on his back. Now he is the head of the Good Food Institute, focusing his efforts towards a vegan world on alternative proteins, which include cultivated meat, fermentation, and plant-based meats. So please share this episode with anyone who might benefit, and thanks for listening.